rising to you, friends. I thought it's time to get to some juicy topics. Today, my topic that's been inspired yesterday is out-of-body experiences, and I wanted to see, and I would love to hear what you have experienced. I'm looking to meet my soul family on this side of the firmament, and I'm really interested in explaining to you some things that have blown my mind and blown my belief system out of the park. And how did it start? Well, it probably started as a child. When I was young, I used to have a lot of dreams and a lot of spirit experiences, actually. I used to have a lot of negative spirit experiences. I would be tossed around, I'd see the future. I had a lot of trauma as a young child, and it's really interesting to me that lesson has taught me how to get to this. So I asked myself, was that my soul agreement? But I promised you yesterday that I would speak into how emotions help you get to doing this out-of-body experience thing. Because this realm, this three-dimensional realm, earth plane, I call it, earth is a plane, it's an eternal plane. To get out of earth plane, one must lift their emotions, because you cannot take emotions such as fear, such as anger, rage, all these lower belly emotions that are kept in the lower chakras. You cannot take those with you as the soul separates from the body. Now, it sounds like a really bizarre experience to those that haven't toyed with this or haven't heard about it. In fact, a lot of people that I've been open to it have actually called it demonic to me. There is an entity realm. Yes, there is, where spiritual battle goes on. I access there a lot in my sleep to do tying up in my sleep, but that's a whole nother story. Today, I'd just like to talk to you about the 101s of learning to leave your body. And this is what I believe Christ spoke about as the rebirth. It's the remembering of who you are at soul level. Because most people walking around in the zombie apocalypse think that the body is who they are. And that's why they give it so much self-negative talk. They'll look in the mirror and say, I look old, I look this, I'm not attractive enough, I'm not magnetic enough, you hear the inner critic within you. This is all coming from feeling cut off from source. So how do you plug back in again? Well, you were never cut off. Never, ever. I have experienced right through my early adult and teen years, amazing timeline shifts even before I considered myself spiritual. In fact, I was on the run from God. But you cannot run from God. God will never let you go. Whatever you call God as source energy, you cannot hide, you cannot run, you cannot do anything that will cut you off. That's what I've come to the conclusion of, having left my body and seen things from much higher dimensions. It's exciting, it's fun. So I've seen in my traumas of being in domestic violence where, partner was trying to kill me regularly. Trees bending as he was trying to ram the tree with a car and kill me. And the tree would bend or would flip into another dimension. I can remember being in a tent and there was this breathing all around me. The whole atmosphere was moving. It freaked me out at the time. I just used to say to myself, I'm just imagining this, but I wasn't, because of what I know now. Another time somebody tried to kick the cafe that I was working in, the glass window in, to try to rob me, and I saw time slow down and the whole glass window bend. It looked to me to be like this kind of angle, and I was like trying to comprehend how on earth did that happen. Well, I shifted into a different dimension. And if you have a soul agreement to do, all of us have soul agreements, right? Before we fell into the body. If you have a soul agreement, you will have certain things that you must do in your life, and in between there's this weaving of free will. So I was thinking yesterday, I have so many experiences to tell you about this because it's happened to me so many times. As you consciously lift your health and well-being and your vibration, you can do this too. But it seems to me that there's one in every family that has access to this, in order to plug in and break a lot of karmic cords for the rest of the family and show them the way. And that's exactly what Christ was talking about. Christ was talking about, I am the way. I am the truth. The truth is that you are a soul having an experience in a three-dimensional body state, which is lower vibrational matter. Now, everything in your body is vibrating. Everything in your body is vibrating, but you're vibrating particularly dense if you're holding fear, which is the polar opposite to love. The concept is that everything in the higher dimensions are love state, are your original state, are the soul state. And to come into this dimension, you are experiencing something, to learn something, to learn what love isn't, to learn the opposite of, if you didn't know what it was, you'd always be curious. Well, this is God having an experience in us and through us to experience the separateness of the all, because God is in all. And even in your enemy, there's a God spark. So I'd just like you to remember that. So I thought I'd tell you about a story where I was told to fly to another state in Australia and activate a friend of mine. At that time, I was very high vibrational. I don't say this with ego. I say it because I know that I was being obedient to what the Spirit was whispering. I was doing things beyond my own supernatural state. And you can read Joe Dispenza's book about being supernatural. You are a supernatural being at soul level. You have access to angels, you have access to guides, you have access to ascended masters, you have access to light codes that are your original state, and they reprogram the density of the body. So I jumped on a plane, took a friend, and we flew over, and of course catching up with dear friends. You just want to chat. What's Adrian saying? That his mum had an out-of-body experience when she was on a cruise after she'd done a yoga class, and she was flying overhead of herself. Yeah, and she looked down and saw the bar table below. Exactly. Well, okay, so that, Adrian, is when you are still in your own field. What I'm talking about here is going beyond the field into other dimensions, but it's all fun. I want to talk about all of it. So this type of out-of-body experience, separating soul from body, is a bit different to lucid dreaming or remote viewing. That I would call that remote viewing, and I have experienced that too, where I'm looking onto my body, and I'll get to that. But first I want to tell you about my accessing realms to heavenly state, and what I saw and who I met and what I came back just knowing, because a lot of what you are activated with up there you can't hold in this density. You have this amnesia again. You pull it in, but you forget stuff, and so there's this inner child excitement in me to access that again. I cannot wait. The kingdom of heaven is accessible now. And that's what I want you to know, is that no matter what you're walking through, no matter what's happened to you, no matter what guilt you're carrying or what fears you're carrying, you are not separate from source. You are trapped in a mindset to think that you are cut off, but you're not. You're plugged in, and it's just being intentional, and you do that, you access that by going inward. All is the synchronization of the heart and the mind. Yes, it is a form of astral traveling, but what I'm speaking about today, Adrian, is astral traveling to other dimensions. And so, yeah, you can astral travel in your own room, in your own house, but you're still in your own biomagnetic field at that stage. What I'm talking about is tapping into the biomagnetic field of the all, which is incredible. And so it's stages, right? So I'm on a plane and I'm flying over to meet my friend who I love dearly, and love is a key. Love is a frequency. And we sat up all night, as you do, chatting, and she wanted to hear about all these experiences that I've been having. Charlie's saying he's been shifting to other planes once or twice. It was strange at first. If I think about it, if he's honest, yeah, absolutely, it is strange, and it feels like you're dying when you actually leave your body. I want to talk into that a little bit too, so forgive me, I'm a bit scattered on this topic because I'm so excited. So Okay, so we're chatting all night and I didn't sleep. Now, one of the ways to get activated to go into other planes is to do the opposite of what we're told to do here for our good health. It's not a long-term thing, it's temporary, but it accesses different brainwave states. So because I hadn't slept and I had a quick nap in the morning for an hour, I woke and I was in a very heavy, thick state of theta brainwave state, which is the same state that I would put you into trance state. It's a self-hypnosis state while you are doing sound healing. This is why sound healing is so powerful and was used by all the ancients for healing, because it allows you to access higher dimensional planes, to remember your soul purpose, your soul destiny, to tap into your guides, to tap into your angels, etc. It lifts your vibrational state. So I woke up, had a little chat to the friend that I was sharing the room with, and then next minute I was pushed back down and I felt this pressure on your body, which you will feel. It'll feel a bit like you're being pushed down. And that's where most people don't access this, is because fear clicks in. And if I could think about the biggest fear that humanity have, it's the fear of death. Well, it does feel a bit like that. And that's why I believe a lot of people can't access the soul leaving the body to other planes unless they get to a near-death experience. So what I'm speaking about today is very much similar to a near-death experience that I've heard others speak into, and yet I didn't die. So Adrian's saying yes to other dimensions. He's done lots of astral travel stuff at night, lots of experience, but I don't know when I'm going to do it. Yeah, I wish I could. There's a guy I'm following on YouTube now called Darius. I can't recall his last name, but I could send you the link. And he can do it on command. That's my goal. That's my goal. So I was pushed down, and then I was floating up out of my body. I could see my body fighting, and according to my friend in the room, I was fighting. I was standing up like kung fuing. The body was moving and awake as well. And then I just kept pushing through these dimensions. It seemed like tunnels, and I was forcing through this. It felt like a torus tunnel, like the middle of an apple core, the middle of and that's why I think Christ mentioned this as the rebirth, because you're accessing this, feels like a time travel thing through the core of a magnetic field. And then right at the top at that stage, I couldn't see, but I knew that I was in another dimension. It was freezing. It was so cold, it felt to me like I was in Antarctica. It was icy cold. I was freezing, and I was asking myself questions, which is how you access your super consciousness. Actually, I talk about this a lot. So if you want to find the vibration that matches you, you ask yourself the question why. Spirits taught me that, like, why am I, and then you'll program the brain to look for the answer. Your brain is amazing like that. So even in this higher dimension, I was accessing my own codes by saying, why am I doing this? What's going on? I was asking myself questions when I thought in my rational mind, why am I not asking God or Source? Now, from that viewpoint, even though my eyes couldn't see, my third eye had knowings. It was like infusions, light codes coming in. I could see the future. I could see that everything down here in this dimension was a mere game. And at that current stage, I was losing a lot of friends because of the high activations that I'd been having. In nap state here, even in my bedroom, I'd had chi balls thrown at me, light codes. I've accessed the realm of elders. I'd accessed the realm of guides. I'd accessed angels coming to my house space, giving me downloads where I thought my body was going to die. Like my body couldn't hold the information that was coming into the computer bank. It's like so much wisdom coming into a denser body. It's like an old laptop with a new program. And so Spirit was And I've always tried to stay healthy, but Spirit was coaching me to really up the game with my health. That's why I have written this 9-week program for you guys, because I believe that if you can get to a higher level of health state and love yourself enough to care for yourself, cut out all the toxicity emotionally, physically, mentally, and in the density that we're eating and drinking, like cut out alcohol, cut out sugar, cut out processed carbs, cut out these things that keep you in this dense state, you will be able to access the kingdom of heaven too, because it's not exclusive. It's there for everybody. Everybody's soul came from the same space. It's just that your laptop's old, and the new programs that are coming in this season will combust the temple body if you don't get it back to crystalline state. So I encourage you for that. So from this higher dimension, a portal opened, and my friends, I had 2 witnesses, and a witness is very important when it's a prophetic thing. That's what the masters have been teaching me, is that the courts of heaven require a witness, just as the courts in 3D density require a witness. Without witnesses, it's thrown out, right? It's just like, oh, you're crazy. But if you have a witness, you have a testimony, then you have some cred. You have some credibility, because it's not just you letting your imagination. And a lot of this does link into the imagination of a child. But when you can shift dimensional planes with the vibration that you're holding, and the highest vibration I think that we're holding here is love and peace, no matter the chaos that's going around us. These are keys. Now, keys are sacred geometry patterns. Just like I was speaking 2 or 3 days ago about Solomon and the black magic keys, he used those keys to bind up demons, and those demons have definitely been released. You have keys as well that are emotional keys to access higher dimensions, and they are all emotional. So your emotions are what allow you to manifest and to access other realms and other dimensions as a co-creator. That's how it was explained to me, just with knowings coming in. So a lot of what was put into me hasn't been accessed yet, because I am still working at getting my temple body to a higher, more intentional vibration, so that the codes can click into gear and reset. Does that make sense? It's like new fuels come in, but I have to allow my body state to get to the crystalline state to be able to read the codes, read the programs. So from this very high state, I realized that I was in a throne room, and there was sapphire, there was ice everywhere. It blew my mind. I never had connected cold with heavenly realms, but then I made contact with a new guide called Enoch, and he's been teaching me all types of funny magical things since then. Super duper exciting. And he ascended without death. So I am very excited at the concept, because it's always been taught to me in Christianity that you could, that you must die and then this judgment happens, and it's been taught to me certain ways of thinking, but I realized from going up there that that isn't actually truth, because what the guides showed me is that there is no time from that perspective, that time is actually a human construct, that time is actually not linear, that was popped onto the clock by the Romans in order to make you think about death. They even measure it with birthdays. So think about, every time you get a birthday, especially when you get to my age, that people actually speak death into you. And we're celebrating getting closer, getting old, which is, in the avatar, we're speaking death into ourselves. We've come into agreement with it. So I want you to ponder that and think about yourself not as the body, but as an eternal soul that's in this beautiful avatar that a lot of us are hating on, that a lot of us are critical of, that a lot of us have suffered really serious trauma and abuse. Now, another thing that was shown to me from this perspective is that while we really struggle to forgive those that hurt us here, a lot of it is aligned with our soul destiny. In order to learn what we ask to learn, certain things have to happen to us. And so here's the game. Like, I don't know what my soul agreement was, and I don't know if anyone does at this point. If you know of anyone that understands their soul agreement, please let me know. But if your soul agreement was to alchemize serious cut-off pain into purpose, you would have to walk a lot more trauma in order to get to that state. I feel part of my soul agreement that's dropped into me was to lift the vibration of humanity and to teach others how to look after their temple body. And I accept and receive that wholeheartedly. I find it fun. I don't find it boring. I am a waterer, Spirit told me, which is an encourager if I break that down. So if you think about emotions linking into the water state, we're up, we're down, we're moving through the fields. The fields are mist state. The highest level of water is mist. Mist is a level of consciousness, they showed me. But if you were watering in a living state, or I was watering your field or your garden, I would encourage you to be your best self. I would encourage you to get back to love state. I would encourage you out of victim mindset. And the lesson for me to get to that learning as my soul destiny was that I had to walk through a lot of trauma with victims in my life in order to recognize that's a victim and that isn't. That's a victim, that isn't. Do you see what I'm saying? So, and I've met people in these dimensions that have passed away, that are from ancient times, that are from future. I've seen New Earth, I've seen different perspectives, and it's blown my mind actually, in that I'm still trying to unpack and process it. And this is probably the first time I've spoken about it 100% openly without, trying to edit it. But I want you to know that you have access to this as well. Now, all of you leave your body in sleep state. All of you do. But if you're holding low density emotions, you are usually accessing the astral plane that is filled with entities. Now, I don't say this to scare you. I say this in love, because your goal as a soul is to shift and alchemize the dense emotions, particularly fear, and recognize that it is fear that takes you away from love. That source is always attached to you by the silver cord, which is on the inside of your navel. So what is blocking us from source then? Well, it's ego state. It's unforgiveness, which is why I've written my Finding Unforgiveness course, and my next one's, I think it's on the 28th of October. I would love to have you join. It's a 90-minute online course that I'm offering just for a donation. You can drop in whatever you like. It's not about the money, it's about the energy exchange for me, so that you hold yourself accountable. And I need you to know this, that heavenly access changed me, to the point where I lost a lot of friends, and even my family, some of them have distanced themselves from me, thinking that I may have lost the plot a bit, because love feels foreign in this dimension. Love isn't our normal. We can think that we're loving, but when the crisis hits, you'll find that you go straight back to that animal instinct, that fight or that freeze or that flight, and that means that your nervous system still needs some healing. So healing is also like time. It's a spiral, and there are layers to it. You'll move a few pegs forward and then drop back a bit. Just be gentle with yourself in that. Love knows the way. Love has the remembering. Love knows the way, and love is a key that's written within your DNA that will give you access to other dimensions, to meet other guides to help you. But I'll tell you something, guides and angels need to be asked. God's source rides in all of those higher vibrational beings. God is an energy, I would say, at the highest realm that I've been able to access with the Council of Light. God sits in the dark. Now that might seem kooky to those of you that are afraid of darkness, but if I think about it, darkness absorbs all light. And the first thing in creation, you can read it in Genesis, that was created was let there be light, which was our souls. Your soul is light. Think about it. Your soul is connected directly to blood. Blood is slowed down light. But in this density, blood is vibrating at matter state. It's very dense. But when you are in your astral body, your light is vibrating at a much higher vibrational state, and your soul is expansive. It's also connected to everyone. And so think about that. So in the bedroom that I was sleeping, I just wanted to let you know that it happened twice to me on that trip visiting my friend with 2 witnesses. There was a mirror facing the bed. And I'm very aware that because Spirit told me that I accessed that realm through the mirror. It was an old-fashioned mirror, probably with silver on the back. Our newer, more modern mirrors, I'm not sure if they're as potent, but there's something about mirrors there. Now, as I came back, I got stuck. This arm was over my body. I was laying on my back at that stage after my battling of self. And battling of self, the only person you're battling is yourself. Enoch's taught me that. He calls them the elves or the elf. See the word elf and self. S is your energy. You are battling self. Everything you don't like about somebody else is an aspect to your soul self in order for you to learn a lesson, to jump out of lower density and back into the higher vibration of love state. And so there is no separation. There's no separation. The only separation is the co-creation that you are creating with what you're thinking about another, or what you're thinking about your own healing circumstances. So what I heard to get back into the body was I'm wearing a silk dress today, but to cover the mirror with silk. And I don't have the answers as to why yet. I have a few studies that I've done and a few knowings, but if you know anything about that, please let me know. Remember the royalty used to wear silk, and silk is actually not as high vibrational as linen or wool. So that baffled me when I found out the Hertz level of silk. But cover the mirror with silk. And I asked my friend to balm me. I have a little balm that was given to me as a recipe from higher dimensions during my 9-month sleep fast. And as soon as she did that, boom, I was able to access the body. Now, and back in. And then you can imagine the conversations that day with my friends. Like, we were mind blown because the coldness of the dimensional portal was there for hours after I came back to my body. So we had this access. What's the message here? I would say the same about God. When I switch on and I'm looking into my third eye, it is dark. And then when we breathe and focus, color and white come through. I love that. That's so true. I've been shown how to access the third eye gate, and I'll teach you how. You close your eyes and you look upwards into the third eye. It feels a bit like you're cross-eyed. It's a bit weird. But if you do this for long enough with deep breathing, you will start to see colors and sacred geometry. Now, this is the doorway to heaven. This, from here to here, is the stairway to heaven. So I don't know if you know this, but you have 33 vertebrae in your spine, and that's exactly why Christ ascended at age 33. It's all showing you the metaphysical process of what's going on within your temple body. So the same day, I decided to have a nap at my friend's because I was up the whole night before, and I've noticed that 30-minute naps shift you into the right brainwave state. It's all about right brain hemi-syncing. It's all about brainwave states to access other dimensions. So I had this nap intentionally, and it happened to me again. This time though, I was able to see a lot more and was given lots of knowings. Up there, you don't really have communication. You have telepathy and codes put into you and light codes put into you, and you can access them as you need to know them. It's need to know basis. And as you become curious like a child, you can access the codes faster. You've got to play this little game. See this realm as a video game. The avatar's being played by your higher self from upstairs. So when I look at it that way, I can make peace with my enemy. I have been able to see my father in an astral dimension. He was being healed. He was in a hospital waiting room. And I have been able to process, and this might help some of you that are processing deep traumas that you've walked through, that in order for me to access this level of knowledge and wisdom, I needed somebody to play the bad guy so that I could be the hero. And there's a lot of compassion. I mean, don't get me wrong, this wasn't an easy thing to process emotionally, but my prayer is that if this can help you heal rapidly and that all of humanity can get to the point of, in this dimension, we're accessing a soul journey that we agreed to before we fell into body density. And we can make peace with the fact that in order to access the soul mission to taste darkness, we had to have a bad guy or bad guys playing a game with us that agreed to us as well. And we made that in love state. Who is going to sign up to be the bad guy? And maybe, because I've seen myself in other timelines, maybe I'm the bad guy in other timelines. Maybe I'm even the bad guy in this timeline, because our personalities get fractured, don't they? Like, some people see me as a helper and other people see me as an enemy, because it's all about perspective. It's all about how you see things, and that's shown to people when they meet their team of elders. The team of elders show you a life review. All NDE experiences speak about this. Now, I've met my team of elders and had discussions with them for hours, and they were putting things into me, and when I asked them what they're doing, they just laughed and said, that's for later. So there's so many things that we can't understand in this body density because of our amnesia. But I'd love you to know this, that nobody is separate from God, that there is no judgment upstairs, that love forgives everything, that what we are doing here is learning invaluable lessons for what love isn't, and therefore we will appreciate love. When we're plugged in again, it is euphoric, it is bliss state, that there is no divide. There is no religious divide upstairs. There's no skin color divide. Souls are one, and that excites me. And there are so many more experiences that I could tell you about, like coming back into my body and not figuring out how to get in. Like I was going north, south, east, west, and I'd be talking to myself saying, what's going on? And God's source would say to me, you're finding your way home again. Home. Where are you from? And I wanted to finish reading you today. I hope this has been interesting for some of you that have pondered these things, or maybe it's new. It doesn't matter to me. Just drop me a comment here and let me know how this has hit your heart, or has it hit your brain and blown your mind somehow. But I wanted to finish with this. Your power is within. And when you can't control what's happening, challenge yourself to control the way that you respond, because every lower dimensional frequency is keeping you out of your birthright state, out of the heavenly state. Here's a beautiful quote, and I hope I can read my writing, by Hazrat Khan. And he says it like this. It's just so poetically written. Becoming a luminary of spiritual thought, diving into the deep ocean of self-realization, the soul, once awakened to its true essence, undergoes a profound transformation. It is not merely philosophical or metaphysical transition, but is an all-encompassing metamorphosis that alters one's existence. When the soul awakens, it's akin to being reborn. The evolved consciousness grasps the tapestry of life. It receives unparalleled magnetism, encompassing power, wisdom, peace, and a higher intelligence becoming a beacon that guides lost souls. I just loved that. And it reminded me of this. This is what Christ said. Unless a man be born again from above, he cannot see the kingdom of God. That is John 3:3. And it's reiterated in another chapter of John, and it says it like this: born of water and of spirit. Unless he's born of water and of spirit, he cannot enter. So born of water is this mist water. It's a higher state of consciousness. In this body density, we are water state. That's why your water is so important. Your water holds vibration. Vibrations are emotions. And you are co-creating heaven or hell with your emotional state. It's time to get rid of the shit density. Yes, we are a spark of God, and we have access to dimensions where we are reunited, and understanding that our birthright is to be eternal and to create the vibration of earth where everybody's accepted lovingly. I hope this helps you process somewhat. Love you. Thanks for the comments.